I just wanted to pop in and say that we are going to be changing our videos on Fridays in the next couple of weeks. We already had this idea to talk with a realtor about buying and selling in Nova Scotia because we do know that there's lots and lots of interest about that. So we had planned this a long time ago. We had also just made a choice within like the last week that our Friday slots are actually going to be about interviewing families that travel. So that is coming in a couple of weeks, but for today and next week, we're going to be doing buying in Nova Scotia and selling in Nova Scotia. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy all the videos. This is like a very different thing than normally we would do. Yeah. So, hey everybody. Welcome to Every Fourth Mile. I'm Amanda, and this is Andrea. Andrea is a realtor. She helped us buy our home here in Nova Scotia. She's quite fantastic. We're just here to talk about what it is like for buyers to buy here in Nova Scotia at this time, because everything has gone a little bit wacky.
It's completely different.
We talked to a bunch of different realtors when we were going to buy our house. Well, not this house, but just any house in Nova Scotia, because we had never even been to Nova Scotia before. Like, it was across the board. Realtors were saying, it's crazy, I've never seen anything like this before.
Exactly. It's definitely a first time for this province for sure to see this kind of a boom.
Yeah. First thing I really want to talk about is, what would you say are some of the best parts of Nova Scotia? Why would people want? Why is everybody wanting to come here? What's going on?
I know everybody really wants to kind of get in on the action of Nova Scotia these days. We are a province with so much to offer as far as nature and the ocean access. I think it's in Nova Scotia, anywhere that you are, you're never any further than about 60 or 70 kilometers from the ocean, which is always nice. Everybody likes that. There's, in Halifax, there's a lot of city life to be had. There's all of the amenities of the city that you would want there, but then you can get out to the country and have a little bit more of a slower lifestyle outside of the city as well. The people of Nova Scotia are some of the best, very friendly, kind of a different East Coast lifestyle sort of living than you get in other areas of the country.
A lot of people in Ontario, we feel like life is just always fast. Right?
Yeah.
And especially when you're coming from the cities in Ontario, it tends to be that much more. We came from a rural area, and so we were still used to somewhat slower life, but coming here, this is a different type of world, honestly.
It is,
than it is in Ontario. I don't even think I understood just how much the population in Ontario, I'm going to say Southern Ontario, it differs as you get north. In Ontario, when you come from like the major city, you're coming from Toronto, and you go out an hour in any direction, and it's like fairly well populated for an hour outside any direction from there. But here, Halifax, beautiful city by the way. The waterfront is so well done.
The waterfront Halifax is one of my favorite places. They've got the hammocks there. Did you see those?
I did.
There's hammocks that you can lay in on the waterfront in Halifax. It's pretty great.
It's interesting how quickly you go from like the city, and there's still, I would say within 30 minutes or so you're good.
Yeah.
And then it's like very rural out there. Like it's just now it's scattered. I love it because I get to be close to the city, but at the same time I get my ocean view.
Absolutely.
And I get our property.
I've always said that we're so lucky to have Halifax as such a main, wonderful, bustling city, but then you don't have to go very far outside of that, and you can live a country life with still access to such a great city. Still, it's a city, but it's still, I think, because it's Nova Scotia, it's still slow and it doesn't feel as rushed and as intense maybe as other cities.
Still bustling though.
It
when
is,
we were there, and even it was kind of overcast at the time. Day was a bit drizzly and stuff like that. Still, lots of people just having fun down in the water.
They usually have the Busker Festival in the summertime in Halifax as well, which is a really big deal. Music and different magicians, and the carnival would be there. So that's one thing I will say about Nova Scotia is that there's so many festivals all throughout the summer months that just kind of in all kinds of different areas of the province.
And I mean, that's the nice thing about Nova Scotia right now is that it's so nice for us to be here and feel like actually things for the most part feel normal, except wearing the mask inside, or if you're really in a crowded area, you still gotta be kind of careful that way, but for the most part, because numbers are so low and everything,
it's been fantastic. I really, during COVID, we've been so lucky that I have to even remind myself that it's happening so intensely in other areas, because we've been so fortunate here to keep our case numbers low. Even when they started to go high, everybody worked together and and did what we had to do to get our numbers down again.
What are some things that buyers can sometimes forget to ask when they're considering to buy a property?
I feel like, especially if you're coming from out of province and then not really being able to truly get a good idea of the rest of the surroundings. One thing that I like to do that I think some people probably wouldn't really think of very much is to just kind of get a good feel for everything outside of where the exact house is on that specific piece of property. Some people, like, a lot of factors take into consideration what might be around the property. So I think something to ask your realtor would just be, could you give us a little bit of information about the subdivision that we're in, or the road that we're on, or some in the Annapolis Valley, there's mountains on both sides, and some of those roads can be pretty treacherous to drive up and down in the wintertime. So just to take into consideration kind of what's around the property as well.
Road maintenance would be
like who's going to plow this and how quickly does it get plowed, because again, when we're talking rural living, the plows go to the main roads, but there's a lot of places that don't see the plow until maybe lunchtime that day. I think just asking about the general area is very important, that people might kind of forget when they're so focused on how's the quality of the roof and how many bathrooms does this place have. I think just knowing about the area is important. When buying a house, there's a lot to take into consideration as far as the offer process and what all goes into that, and that you need to have your insurance, be approved for insurance, and have a home inspection done, and then a septic inspection potentially on top of that. And it's good to be able to have somebody who's going to keep a level head and remind you of all the little steps that you're going to have to take.
I know for us, we really need to decide if we were okay with being basically 25 minutes from the grocery store, or really about 45 minutes to an hour in any major town.
Yeah.
And how rural are you okay with it? And how much busyness, and what do you want in your area? And for us, we're totally happy with really rural.
That's right, yeah, and how far is it? And some people might need to have a pharmacy really close to be able to access something like that often. And so it's definitely important to ask, when you're not familiar with the area, how far away those kind of amenities are that are important to you. And
like a hospital or a doctor's office even. It's also sometimes why I'm a little bit more with the boys, okay, we need to tone down what you're doing, because we're if you get injured, it's something that we can still just fix.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah, we'll still go quite a distance.
Still gotta go a distance.
Please be careful.
Yeah. How do people kind of react to actually get to the home after they've bought something virtually? Before we go on to our next question, I'm going to just say, if you have any questions about buying in Nova Scotia, then leave that in the comments below, and Andrea will help you out. I know it.
Yeah,
just good like that.
Definitely. But for somebody who's not here at all, we need to be your eyes, your ears, your nose. In Nova Scotia, the country perfume might be something that might surprise some people, and maybe they don't really actually think about those things, how country things can be. And just kind of how spread out things are too, that everything here is not on top of each other.
At the same time, I feel like I would, so in a city, for them to try to get to a Walmart or get to certain things, it's still going to be that amount of time just to get there, and it's all including with the busyness. Some people just love city life. For me, I love the idea of just this beautiful drive along the water or with the trees, or just and the roads here are amazing.
Oh, good.
Because in Ontario, everything is straight.
Oh, yes.
Straight.
Yeah.
You go from here to here, it is a straight road. Which, it's certainly better for getting, for time.
That's right, yeah.
Making time, right?
But here you just meander through the roads and look at the country farm stands along the way.
It's that, from the movie Cars, where it's you drive here to have a good time, not necessarily to make good time.
That's right, exactly.
It's
all about the journey, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay, so I know, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups that people are asking about, where do I buy? How do I buy? What are the things that I should be considering, and all that kind of stuff. And so when people are trying to pick a region or something, do you ever give any suggestions to how they can even think where to start? All of Nova Scotia. Where do I start in picking something?
Yeah. Again, it kind of is your own personal preference, really. The South Shore is very, very popular for its beaches. A lot of people like to be there. It's got beautiful white sandy beaches, and there's a lot of, tourist opportunities there. Very beautiful hotels and things like that on the South Shore. So the Annapolis Valley is another area where there's a lot of tourist opportunities, a lot of wineries, again, shops, businesses, restaurants, and things like that, but it's a little bit more removed, not quite as city feeling as what Halifax would be. The Annapolis Valley is about an hour depending on where you are, an hour and a half maybe away from Halifax. So Halifax, Dartmouth, Bedford, all those little areas are in the Halifax Regional Municipality is more of a city kind of lifestyle as well. And then there's Cape Breton, which the Highlands and the Cabot Trail and everything there. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's a pretty phenomenal drive around the Cabot Trail and everything. So, but that's another area all in and of itself as well. It's even more removed from kind of city life, although Sydney is there and it is a city, but it's smaller. So I guess it just depends on what it is that you're really looking for in the place where you're going to live. I feel like all the areas of Nova Scotia have so many different things to offer. So you just kind of need to determine what it is you're looking for, narrowing to that specific area, and then again from there, what type of house you're looking for, what type of vibe you're looking for in the neighborhood that you're in. And so, but I think that these Facebook groups that are out now are a great help to be able to just kind of ask your questions and get a feel, and then just slowly narrow things down further and further from there.
Yeah, so if you just, like in case you're gonna go look for them, there is Move to Nova Scotia, Ontario to Nova Scotia, and to Ask Nova Scotia. Those are the 3 ones I can think off the top of my head that have been pretty helpful for us. Have people come here and felt like it's good, but it's so different. And after we got here, people started talking more about, like, I don't even think I even realized that tropical storms happen so often in Nova Scotia.
They do in the summer and like into the September into the fall months. It's something that we watch out for, tropical storms and hurricanes and things like that. But usually it's the tail end of them, so we get some pretty big gusts of wind and some heavy rains and everything. It's not too intense, fortunately. But but it is something that the weather tracks up this side of the coast.
In the next video, part 2, we're going to be discussing what it's like to be a seller in Nova Scotia. And stay tuned, because we are going to just talk about what it has, the impact that this new housing market has had on Nova Scotia, the good and the bad. So stay tuned, watch that video as well. And for now, subscribe so that you get notifications for that video. So subscribe, like this video, leave comments below if you are a buyer and you want to ask Andrea any questions. I'm gonna just make her keep an eye on our YouTube channel. I'm gonna just tell her that she needs to keep an eye in case there's some questions. And so if you have any questions about buying in Nova Scotia, then please comment below. See you in the next video.